When mixing, one of the most difficult parts to deal with is usually the low end. And in this video, you're gonna see me working with the low end of a track using mix bus, Harrison mix bus to be precise, by working with a series of equalizers to make the sound of my low end inside of my mix to feel more punchier, but also cleaning up and making it much more precise sounding. And the way I'm gonna be doing it is by working on the kick drum and working with a specific EQ called a split EQ. What you're about to see is an excerpt from a live stream in which I'm mixing a song from start to finish. So if you want to see the entirety of the content of this video in its full context, I recommend you to watch that one once this is over. Link in the description down below.
Beneath the sky, where the shadows creep, a whispered curse, where secrets sleep. The moon.
Now you heard it, right?
Yeah.
Would you describe it?
Yeah, the way it felt to me was like a little bit of a cardboardiness or cardboardiness.
Cardboard sound. Like,
Yeah. To the sound of the kick. It's not the bulk of the sound. The bulk of the sound is good, but
no. It's just a tiny resonance point that now that we have worked on plenty of stuff on the rest of the track and everything is sounding now proper, this feels that it's not cutting through the best.
yeah.
Let's address it. This is, even though I am making a huge fuss about it, it's going to be easy to fix. Okay, so let's go for it. Let's begin there. And Robbie's saying that he agrees with you, Thiago.
Of course, why wouldn't you?
Good, yeah, then I'm the prick. Okay, what we got right now is we're using the EQ on the mix bus desk as our, and this is the reason why. We got the EQ only being used as a kind of shaping tool. We're actually using the EQ just to kind of remove and add a little bit of the stuff that we like for it to be then compressed by the the compressor, the one built in the mix bus. And I like everything about it. But whenever I do this, I usually do it because I will leave the final EQ, the one that will cut through the mix, or the one that is going to actually be the one that defines the sound of the kick, to be applied after we get to this stage. So this is not necessarily speaking about an assortment of bad news. So let's begin. I'm gonna double click. Let's look for a freaking EQ. And yes, I finally fixed the EQ that was missing, the dynamic EQ that I was bound to use last week, and we're gonna be using it, Robbie, because I know you like them. So let's go for it. I'm gonna use. We need a little bit of a very kind of historical EQ, so I'm gonna go through split EQ. Allegedly. There it is. And of course, I'm going to make sure that it's pre-fader, because in mixes you can actually put effects after the fader. It's kind of funky, but it's actually very console-like. Okay, so we got it here. Let's listen to the kick by its own, just to get familiar and see a little bit of the interface. Yes, and as Robbie's saying here, yeah, we got that little bit of a bump on the 200 and something hertz. So let's attack that bad boy. I'm going to go for the split EQ, because with this guy, I would be able to work on the resonance, the ambience, independently from the transient. Because this is the kind of stuff that you can do with a more traditional EQ, of course, but you get to these results faster. And to be frank, having access to this level of technology makes sense. Because for those of you who are new to split EQ actually allows you to, as the name implies, split the signal of the information going through into sections. The one that is known as tonal information, that is according to the plugin, which is everything that is harmonic and resonancy, and transient information, which is everything that is, of course, is going to be tonal, but is mostly on the tech. Mind the dynamic, okay? So you can affect the signal in a dynamic EQ kind of fashion, or on a surgical mode as well. So let's begin. I'm going to be using band number 2, and I'm going to position it somewhere here, because this is where the issue, I think, is. So let's see. I'm going to bypass everything. I'm going to solo this band, okay? Listen to it. That spot sounds kind of like a good candidate, right?
Yeah, possibly.
It's a little bit annoying. So I'm going to be first affecting the tonal information, okay? Which is the blue bar. This guy. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna solo it, but I'm gonna solo the tonal information. This is so good about this guy. I think it's gonna be there. So I'm gonna unmute this guy, on solo, sorry. Let me set this guy to 0, to Unity. Immediately. There is. Here we go. I'm gonna press play, but now in the context of the mix, and let me take you to a B section where we can actually see this bad boy in action. Sorry for interrupting, but if you happen to like what you're watching, please let me know by clicking on the like button underneath. And also, if you happen to got any question, please leave it in the comment section down below. Let's continue. Better, right?
Yeah, and it was a considerable cut.
Yeah, and actually, look at that, Robbie. You were on the money.
Yeah.
Well done. Because this particular band is the one that was annoying me, and I went bananas just for the fun of it, but it worked. Let me change the width a little bit on the transient information. Let's see. So I'm gonna be a little bit less dramatic on it. Here we go. But now I feel that I can boost a little bit of the low end. So let's do it. I'm going to push it just tiny bit, just somewhere there. Why? Because we can bring back a little bit of the good stuff now that we cut off some of the fat. Like it. And yes, Robbie, I was about to make the comment regarding adding a little bit of extra high end just to make it a little bit more clicky. Because even though the tone of the kick is correct for this kind of composition, you need to have a little bit of extra, how can I put it, extra damage if you're into an RPG kind of style of description. No, extra definition to the sound of the kick. And yes, it's usually found in something between a little bit of the 4,000 to even, in some cases, even 6,000. That depends on the tuning of the kick, of course. Let's see. I was also thinking about that. In this case, I might even use the shelving rather than the picking frequency band. Let's see. Why? Because I can. Here we go. And I'm gonna go transient, just out of fun of it. Here we go. This is super subby. It's not reaching. We gotta go lower. Let's see. Now we're talking, right?
Yeah, very good.
Could you tell the difference?
Well, the difference is insane.
It's insane, right? Because
Yeah.
this is the kind of subtlety that is needed when mixing. Because I don't know if you could hear the extra level of crispiness and definition that the whole track got and developed.
Yeah.
Because before it felt like there was something in between us and the speakers.
Yeah.
And I noticed it here in the studio. I have access to different speaker setups, right? And I could hear it on both. And I noticed it thanks to the use of the referencing. Swapping between speakers was what allowed me to hear that particular noisiness.
Yeah.
Could you hear it, right?
Yeah. Now the thing you managed to retain the ballsiness that was already there. It was already ballsy, but now it's cutting through better and it's less. Well, the dirt. You remove the dirt.
Yeah, the dirt and the
Yeah.
fat, the extra fat. So yeah, split EQ, as Robbie puts it, is a very crazy EQ. It's something that is very unique. I haven't seen something like this that does it the way it does it, and it's one of my favorite tools. Whenever I find myself facing something like this, split EQ is usually the way to go. Also the VX, the Rainworks one, but that one is crazier in other ways.